Welcome, it's Denome, and welcome to this crypto update. Now, this update, we're going to obviously talk about the Bitcoin price. We will talk about Ethereum because that has been doing extremely well. We will talk about other crypto assets as well. But I will also reveal you guys what is the big narrative going into 2025, 2026 that will push Bitcoin and crypto prices even higher than you probably could even imagine right now. So, without further ado, I will come back to this chart later on. Let's actually talk about the big narratives. Then we will look at obviously the Google Trends. We will look at the FOMO. We'll look at all kinds of things in this video. But let's go and take a look at the big narrative for 2025, 2026. And that is the tokenization of assets. And mostly we're talking about United States stocks and bonds that will be tradable on chain on Uniswap and other platforms like that, decentralized platforms. And that will allow more money, more capital to flow into United States stocks, obviously, United States bonds, but it also allows more capital to flow into the blockchain, which will rise the prices of crypto, obviously. Now, this is just a piece of news that came out on May 8th, and you can see Robinhood is developing a blockchain based program to basically allow these US securities to be built on chain. And currently, they are looking to launch this on Arbitrum, Ethereum, and Solana. So these are the main tokens for Robinhood, at least as of now. And this is simply the current reports, so they may change their minds, but overall, this is now happening, and that would also allow European users to trade tokenized US financial assets. So this is obviously massive, but this needs a regulatory approval. So let me give you guys the biggest piece of news that I have seen in a while. And that comes straight from the SEC. So the new commissioner, Hester M. Pierce, she made a speech on May 8th as well, talking about tokenization of US assets. And obviously, she talks about all of the problems here. Let me just give you the juicy part here. So one focus is tokenization of traditional securities. Tokenization refers to the use of distributed ledger technology to maintain the record of ownership of traditional assets, including stocks and bonds. It entails formatting these assets as crypto assets or tokens on a blockchain. So this is now coming. This is straight from the SEC. This is what they want to do. And when I saw this, I'm like, wow, this is basically giving us all the information here to say that we are going to see a massive bull run in crypto, obviously. There's a SEC crypto task force which is now considering a potential exemptive order that would allow firms to use distributed ledger technology to issue, trade, and settle securities. So we might, even before we see a full clearance for all of these different securities, we might start to see exemptive orders that, for example, Tesla, you can do this, or Robinhood, you can do this, or Coinbase, you can do this. So we will see how that formulates, but they're looking to at least start in a small scale and then scale upwards from there. Firms seeking to operate an automated market making system for tokenized securities, for example, may face challenges. Then they talk about the challenges here, but why I highlighted this point here is automated market making systems. So this is your Uniswaps, this is your 1-inch decentralized exchanges. So practically speaking, anybody can buy completely 100% regulated US stocks, not synthesized stocks that we had at some point. Most of them, I think, have gone down, or I don't exactly know what happened with them, but that was a narrative some time ago, but that kind of died out. But now they're basically talking about the exact stock to be placed on chain. Again, they're talking about the exemptive relief here, and this will give SEC time to develop and adopt durable adaptations to its existing rules to accommodate a distributed ledger technology. So this is what I said before, that they do some exemptions first, and then that basically gives them more data and information to build a full regulatory framework for these assets. But the goal here is to formulate a commercially feasible approach that protects investors, including by ensuring that they have the benefit of cutting edge technologies for trading, clearing, and settling securities. And I welcome feedback. And here is where it gets even more interesting is that they are looking to initiate or engage in cross-border collaboration with the Europeans, like you saw from the previous uh, news, that Robinhood is basically allowing European citizens to buy US stocks, and now the SEC is fully on board on that plan. So this is moving at a very, very fast speed. So in 2025, we might actually see the first tokenized stocks already. I have advocated for bilateral collaboration to allow participants in foreign sandboxes simultaneously to run their market experiments in the United States. So this is, I don't know how much more massive it can get, but it actually does. Before I show you that, let me talk about who is this Hester MPS. It is this woman here. She is a lawyer, and previously she was a senior counsel on the US Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. So, at least as it looks to me, she knows her business, and she is the replacement of Gary Gensler, who was pretty much anti crypto, pro Bitcoin uh, SEC commissioner. So now the Trump administration is doing a complete 180, and they're basically going full on crypto, full on decentralized platforms. I guess there may be some regulations coming down the line that it's gonna be like a Trojan horse. Like for now, I'm talking bullish, but then at the when we get more information on it, or when the regulations actually go through, it may actually limit our privacy and so on. But until all of that bad stuff happens, you have to understand that narrative drives the price. And this is going to be the big narrative when these big banks, big institutions, SEC, all of these people start to basically promote these securities to be placed on chain. So you can imagine how many people will want to get in on crypto assets before they become huge. But it gets even better than that. So today on May 12th at 1 p.m. ET time, there's going to be a crypto task force roundtable on tokenization, moving assets on chain, where TradFi and DeFi meet. So basically, after today, we might get some news because, as you can see, Hester MPS is talking about here, talking on this event, and they have many other people here from Fidelity, Nasdaq, Invesco, BlackRock, Apollo Management, Tokenized Asset Coalition, Superstate. Superstate, by the way, is building. Well, I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe I'll make a separate video about it. But they also had another big news basically on May 8th as well. So just in the last less than a week, we're getting just a massive push into this tokenization narrative. Robinhood here, Canton, Maple Finance, Sidney Powell. That is the, I didn't see this before. This is the lawyer that helped Donald Trump against the January 6th. Okay, interesting. Anyway, continuing. Maple Finance, I think the ticker is MPL. So that could be interesting. American University, Washington College of Law, Chia Network, independent researcher. All right, very interesting people talking here. So let's see what comes out of it. But it looks like this is now happening and it's actually real. Then we do have some other news also. We will get back on the on the price talks, but fast food giant Steak and Shake. First, they gave an announcement that they will, instead of using seed oils, they will replace their seed oils with lard. Now they are accepting Bitcoin payments for their 100 million customers. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a big thing, but obviously we like it that companies, they are embracing crypto, they are embracing Bitcoin. So obviously this is going to be a nice thing. This probably means that they will also buy Bitcoin, or at least accumulate some Bitcoin in their strategic reserve as well. And then Trump or the White House has announced that they are progressing on the US China trade deal. And this is massive in the sense that this eliminates a lot of the fear from the markets. But when I actually read the announcement here, it is not exactly any kind of announcement yet. But as you can see here, that by tomorrow morning there's going to be a complete briefing by Treasury Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent. So it seems like they have come to some sort of an agreement. It could be an agreement for an agreement. So this basically doesn't exactly mean anything yet until we get the facts. So basically by tomorrow we should get the facts out as well. But all in all, I would expect that the markets will see this as a positive, and they expect good things. And because the markets are future looking, it's probably going to mean a green candle. And then MetaPlanet has bought another 1,241 Bitcoin, and now they are holding 6,700, almost 800 Bitcoin here. Previously, when I showed you guys last week, I think it was 5,555 Bitcoin. So they are massively buying as many Bitcoin as they can. Also, Michael Saylor just posted this chart here. Every time there's a orange dot here, they buy more Bitcoin, and every time Michael Saylor posts this chart, he's going ahead and buying more Bitcoin. So most likely we're going to see another purchase from from Strategy this week as well. And then one piece of news that I actually forgot to show you in the previous crypto update, this came on 6th of May, is a new company called Thumbs Up. They are they have applied to buy $500 million worth of Bitcoin. So now they are raising the capital for that using their Bitcoin acquisition strategy. Most likely it's going to be the same one that Strategy is using, or MicroStrategy. So more companies are joining on the Bitcoin bandwagon on this front as well. So as you can see, the narratives are absolutely crazy. But when we take a look at retail participation in the market right now, and we go to Google Trends, we're looking at worldwide information from the past 5 years. Take a look at how little people are interested in crypto on the retail side. The retail investors are completely sidelined. They have no idea of these developments here. That means that the price has a lot more upside left, because usually retail investors are the last investors who come into the market. And right now, the retail investors could not care less about Bitcoin strategic reserves. They could not care less about tokenization of stocks on chain. None of these big narratives, but this is basically extremely bullish from my perspective. Now, looking into what ETFs have been doing, we have seen a lot of green days, basically consecutive green days. But as you can see, the buying has actually been slowing down quite significantly. So today might be an exemption. So a Monday could be a very green day. We get all of these announcements, but it could be a sell the news event as well, because we are seeing a clear slowdown here on price. We're seeing a slowdown on acquisition. And when we look at the long-term fundamentals as well, using sentiment.net, by the way, links are in the description for all of these tools here. When we look at supply of Bitcoin on exchange reserves, this has basically been going flat for the last almost 2 weeks now. So we're not seeing a accumulation continuing into the strong hands. But I bet if we see a pullback, then this chart will also go down, which we want to actually see. We want to see accumulation. But on the other side, when we look at funding rates, the funding rates are almost neutral still. And when funding rates are neutral, that means that the price is being pushed by the spot markets, not the futures markets. So we're not seeing any kind of FOMO on the funding side here. So this gives me, um, I should not say hope, but worry that Bitcoin will just push through the all-time high and continue forward, and we don't have that pullback that I would like to see. So this is a little bit annoying from that perspective, that I would like to see a pullback, so more investors can basically get in at cheaper prices. But we know that this train has now, it is moving, and I don't think we're going to see any lower prices, even though some people are saying like 69,000 Bitcoin is still happening. I just don't see it with these moves that we're getting from the White House uh, and all of these basically large institutions and companies and everybody piling into buying Bitcoin and crypto. Also, when we look at the market cap of stablecoins, that is basically flat as well. No changes here. We would obviously want to see more stablecoins being used on chain, but here is the worrying part. At the same time that we see all these good fundamentals, this good news, the selling on chain is increasing. So especially when we look at the blue line here, which shows us wallets that have held Bitcoin for more than 3 years, they are taking profits here. But this, despite all of this profit taking, the price has actually just continued to go to the upside here. And this is an exception. Usually when you see old whales basically selling, that signals a local top. But here we are actually seeing some form of a capitulation, I would say. So even though they are selling, the buying pressure is still too much for prices to go lower. But this is just I'm just saying telling you guys that it's very hard to predict where the price will go in the short term, because we get all of these conflicting ideas. But I will give you my analysis at the end of the video anyway. Looking at Bitcoin supply distribution, we're actually seeing a little bit of a cooling down here. It could just be because it was the weekend, but 100 to 1000 Bitcoin holding wallets, which is usually the proxy for ETF holders, they have slowed down since May 9th. So I think it's just the weekend, nothing major about that. No major moves here that I can really see. The mega whales, the 10,000 to 100,000 Bitcoin holding wallets, they sold off a little bit here right at the pump to this current price range of $100,000 to $300,000. So some profit taking there as well. So all in all, let's go to the short-term fundamental information as well. So when we look at the liquidation heat map, this shows us hot areas where we would see a lot of long and or short positions getting liquidated at. When we are looking at the 6-month data, I don't know exactly how accurate this data actually is, because this may give us false information, because the numbers don't really make sense to my perspective. Because here you can see that $366 million would get liquidated here at $107,000, $550 price of Bitcoin. But when we look at a different, a shorter time frame, then the number is actually higher. So from that perspective, these numbers don't really make sense. But I would still argue that this gives you an idea what is the hot area for liquidations. And as you can see, most of the liquidations would happen here, basically on top of the current price ranges, even probably above the previous all-time high. So that is the liquidation zone here. And when we go to, let's go for like a 3-month window here. Below the current prices, the biggest area would obviously be all the way down to $90,000 Bitcoin price. And this is the area that I would like to get tagged. This is the area I was talking about before, but it did not happen. But on the other hand, when we look at the Ethereum, this is where I was able to hit the nail right on the right place. I don't know how to say it. Let's take a look at, for example, let's take Binance. So Ethereum, I told you guys at $1,590, I made a video saying that Ethereum looks extremely undervalued from all perspectives. We're talking about tokenization of assets. We're talking about Donald Trump issuing his own stablecoin with his company, World Liberty Financial, that is going to be launched on Ethereum. Ethereum had a major update. Ethereum is now deflationary again because of the update. And all these things is happening on Ethereum. So Ethereum had a major pump, obviously, to the upside already. It would just make sense that we have at least some form of a pullback before continuing to the upside. The RSI is completely bonkers here. It reached 85 number here. So I would like to see a pullback. But if you have bought Ethereum, that was one of the best plays. And also I've been talking about this asset here, LDO. Sorry, let's take here, LDO USD. So let's take this for example. So LDO, I told you guys that this is like a derivative of Ethereum, and this has actually doubled already from the bottom, or almost doubled in price from the bottom. So this is basically the crypto that I have most of, and this has been going very, 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 very well. Now, obviously, there's other assets as well that are linked to the real world asset, let's call it revolution. Chainlink is one of them. Chainlink is pushing for nice highs here as well. That is a very solid crypto. I have Chainlink as well. Another one that most of you probably don't know, or maybe you have heard about it, but it is called Sui. I think Sui is in collaboration with Facebook, and Facebook is looking to initiate its own stablecoin payment mechanism. So Sui has a lot of narrative behind it. This is relatively new coin. I didn't hear about this in the previous bull run at all. So Sui already has done more than double from the lows, 150%. So I actually I had a trade on Sui, but I got stopped out right here, which is a little bit unfortunate. But all in all, Sui has done pretty well. So if this has pullbacks, that could be a new one. And one more that I hear many people talk about is something called Ondo. Ondo basically helps real world assets to be placed on chain as well. But if you just want the easy route, you want Ethereum, that is most likely going to be the biggest proxy for all of this tokenization, because all of the layer twos like Arbitrum, they are ultimately linked to Ethereum price and the Ethereum blockchain. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, those are obviously going to be the big ones. And if you want to buy some of these other cryptos, you can do that as well at your own taste. And if you want to trade crypto, if you want to trade altcoins, I would recommend using an exchange where you can do everything you basically want. And the sponsor of this channel is called femex.com. There's a link in the description. One of the reasons why you want to use this is that you get instant welcome rewards, very good bonuses. The fees are extremely low, and you don't even have to complete your KYC to trade, to deposit and withdraw capital on femex.com for now. So that's it for this update. Let me know what you guys thought of the of this video. What do you think of this new narrative of tokenization? Let me know if you think there's going to be a sell the news event when all of these news finally come to the markets. That's gonna be a like a push to basically the previous all-time high, and then we finally have a nice pullback. Do you think this will happen, or Bitcoin will just shoot to the upside? Personally, I'm mostly in the altcoins right now. In the long run, basically on the real world asset side of niche, that is my main focus as of now. So let me press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you and bye bye.